are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs on the Locked On NBA Network. I am Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5. Glad to have you back. What are we talking about today? We're looking at the Spurs game tonight versus the Blazers. Should be a win. We're going to be discussing that and more with our guest, and also trying to catch up on the NBA draft, and more specifically the players with the Spurs more than likely going to make the play-in and not fall into that top 10 slot. Well, who should the Spurs be aiming for? To that, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the guy you want to go to for all things college ball, because I'm pretty sure he must be in heaven right now. He is Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star, co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. Jack, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. You must be in heaven. March Madness, the Final Four is here, man.
Absolutely in heaven, especially I'm a huge Duke fan, so to see Duke, North Carolina in the Final Four game, that's pretty amazing. Super excited.
Yeah. Did you happen to go to any of the games in San Antonio?
Yeah, I went to the round of 16 game, so I saw Villanova and Michigan, and then Arizona and Houston.
Man, oh man. Well, first of all, thanks again for hopping on Locked On Spurs. Always glad to have you here. And make sure to check out Jack on the Saturday Morning Hangover. He and James Pledger holding it down for the San Antonio Sports Star every Saturday morning. More on that later. Jack, let's go and dive into this. First of all, before we get into some names and prospects, I want to get your thoughts about the Spurs tank job, all but done. They're obviously not tanking. They're gunning for the play-in. This is clear. Chances are high that they'll fall into the play-in. But what are your thoughts with the tanking kind of mode or idea out the window and this team likely not going to fall into the top 10?
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little, kind of, I don't want to say worrisome, but it's in that spectrum because if we don't have a successful, off season in terms
Mm.
of bringing in free agents, we're picking in the same spot we have been for the last couple years, and we could just, be the same team again next year.
Yeah.
Just with another two or three young guys on our roster that if we know anything about the Spurs, we're not going to see them until you get meaningful minutes until
Right.
post All-Star break. So it's a little annoying and worrisome that we could just be stuck in this purgatory of mid-level teams again. So not too happy about it.
Well, I mean, just to play kind of a devil's advocate, look what the team is doing right now with picks in that range, that 11, 12, 14 range. Not too bad. I mean, I think this team, for what many expected them to do, really surpassed expectations, Jack.
No, I think you definitely have picked very well there, but we need to add stars to our team. And the chances of finding an NBA star, the caliber of which DeJounte has risen, Keldon looks like he's going to be there. It gets slimmer and slimmer the further you pick away from that, top five really. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of, like I said, worrisome that we could be stuck in this purgatory in the NBA where you're sitting in that play-in spot
Right.
every year because you're not adding the type of talent you need to catapult your team up into the rankings.
Do you understand where team play-in is coming from? That segment of fans. I mean, do you get it at least? Do you understand why, some
Well,
fans would want to push for the play-in?
yeah, I mean, as a fan too, every time my team steps on the court, I'd love for them to win. It's just, that's just being a fan, a loyal fan. But there comes a time where you have to look forward past that and to the.
Oh, and we lost Jack, but that's all right. He'll be right back. A lot of people talk about team play-in, at least those that were on it. wanting this team to make a big push. And I get it, the whole, you don't want to be a loser, that's the loser mentality. But both sides of the argument, it's understandable. Team play in versus team tank. Trying to get Jack back on here, right here on this episode of Locked On Spurs. But yeah, and there he is. Hopefully he will grace us. Hey Jack, welcome back. I held it down for you, buddy. We're holding it down. We're waiting for you to come back. Oh, he's still having some technical issues, but no. Um, it just makes sense why, this team, the Spurs team, would want to push in. These are a bunch of young players. They have something to prove. And to see if Jack is back. I don't know if Jack Thompson is back or not. We'll see. Nope, he's still having
I
trouble. But up here he is. Jack, welcome
can
back.
hear you. Can you
Yep,
hear me?
I sure can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but oh, that's weird, bizarre. Hey, but well, I'm glad you're back here. But circling back, we're talking about just the play-in. Is it? I mean, is it totally bad? This team makes a play-in. I mean, is it that bad?
It's not totally bad, but I don't see it really helping us in the long run.
Hmm.
Sure,
I
you
mean,
get like some
yeah,
sort of experience, but that's not playoff 7 game games. That's, one game, and you lose that one game, you're out. It's not the same thing. I guess it builds their hunger in terms of like, man, we were almost right there. Like, let's get back to work. But I still think adding a high value pick is much more valuable to the team than making the 9th or 10th seed into the play-in tournament.
all right. With the Spurs likely making the play-in, do you think they'll make some noise in the play-in tournament? Can you see them getting a couple wins and maybe advancing?
Yeah, I mean, I could see us beating the Pelicans, but now that they have Brandon Ingram back, they're a whole lot tougher, so
Hmm.
that could go right out the window. After that, I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the
Minnesota
chances
would
are
be.
further against us
Yeah,
than with us.
yeah, Minnesota would be a tough out if they draw them, in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we
Uh,
saw what Carl Anthony Town did to us last time. Gave us 60
yeah,
points.
absolutely. Yeah, we're talking with Jack Thompson right here on Locked On Spurs. He's going to be previewing tonight's game, Spurs Blazers, talking about play in versus tank, and he's going to give us some prospects after 10th pick, top 10, because let's face it, the Spurs are not going to fall there. Possible gems that the Spurs can find wherever they may land. Jack, let's going to talk about that now. Probably not going to be a top 10 pick. That Boston pick kind of getting weaker by the win for Boston. Every time they win, it gets weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I think it's like in the 20s now. So
Yeah, it's in the early 20s.
yeah, early 20s. The Spurs will have their own, which will be their highest pick, and then that Raptors pick as well. It looks like it may. I think it's probably going to convey, right? I think it will, right? So,
Yeah, it'll
um,
probably stay around.
it's say like around like what mid in the middle tier.
It's like yeah, like
Yeah,
15 to 19 range, I would say
yeah.
it'll be.
Yeah, well, let's dive into it. Okay, so you've been following the tournament. Are there any names on your list that you want to see the Spurs select wherever they may land? And obviously we'll try to stick outside of the top 10 because they're not going to land there.
Yeah. Let's see. Outside of the top 10, some guys that I think would be great for the Spurs. First would be Jeremy Sohan. He's a small forward, power forward, kind of uh, pocket knife kind of guy out of Baylor. He's 6'9", guards a bunch of positions, immediately fills a role for us at that power forward spot, bumping Keldon down to the 3 where he belongs. Sohan, he can shoot the 3. He can grab a rebound and push it full court. He's got good handles, good vision. He's just a pretty polished player for someone of his age. Someone else I'd like at that range, center Mark Williams out of Duke. Big 7'1", 7-foot center. Got a 7'8" wingspan. Elite
Wow.
lob catcher and rim protector. Definitely someone who is going to be able to run and bang with the big NBA bigs around the league. So he's someone else that I would like for us to get at that range. Um, if we got lucky enough that Benedict Mathurin falls out of the top 10 for his last showing against Houston, where he barely scored at all, if he was able to fall out of the top 10, I would immediately snag him. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. Um, man, there's not a whole lot else that really intrigues me
Mhm.
that much at that, 11 to 14 range. Maybe Malachi Branham, shooting guard from Ohio State. He really blew up towards the end of the year, scoring a lot of 20-point games. But mostly I'd be looking at hoping that Benedict Mathurin falls. And then if not, we go for Sohan or Mark Williams. Or there's another power forward out of LSU. His name's Tari Easton, won Sixth Man of the Year out of the SEC.
Mhm.
He's a freshman, 6'8", 220, kind of does everything too, like Sohan. So probably something along those lines.
Is still finding the big man, priority number one for the Spurs if they want to address that in the draft, or should they chase that maybe in free agency?
I would say that's probably priority number one for us. I mean, we've got the guards that we think are our guards of the future in terms of DJ, Devin, and Keldon. And you can throw Lonnie in there too with how he's been playing. Maybe we re-sign him. And then, of course, we've got Primo, who still, while he looks pretty young and raw, has shown some flashes of what he might be able to do consistently in the league. So I would look more in that, small forward to center range in terms of where we're drafting players.
Is if the Spurs want to address any needs that they may need, via the draft, is it more of a legit center? Look, and no knock on Poeltl, he's good, but he's not maybe the answer the Spurs need in this era of basketball, or is it still that forward, the John Collins type, or should they try to address it and find a Draymond Green like player that can play both of 4 or 5? I mean, how do you see this team needs right now?
Well, Jeremy Sohan is 6'9". He can play that kind of 4, small 5 role. He's a forward that could do it all. So is Tari Easton. He's a little bit smaller, but really strong and really athletic. And but I do think that we need a more athletic rim running, dunking, lob catching kind of big. Well, Pirtle has been very good this year. He is really all finesse, not a whole lot of banging with those other bigs. So I would like to see someone that could play more above the rim at that center position. So
Mhm.
I think Mark Williams would be pretty great for us. He's also, like Pirtle, an elite rim protector. So I would be looking at something like that.
Yeah, we gotta go a little break in a bit, but something I want to ask Jack when we come back is, you know, more about Pirtle. Does Jack think that he is the answer for the Spurs at the middle? Does Jack think that maybe he's probably the better trade bait for the Spurs in the NBA draft? The Spurs want to try to move up. But before we do that, hey, look, after months of playing, college basketball is going to determine its champion very, very soon in the upcoming week. Hey, but if you need more information, go to betonline.net. It's your number one source for all betting needs and sports info from all the latest odds, contests, player props, you name it. BetOnline has the best spot for all your sports developments. If you need the news right then and there, go to BetOnline. And it even includes podcasts and reviews for all leagues this season. I go there. Why? Because when I miss my favorite casino games out in Las Vegas, they have it. Yes, BetOnline has all the favorite Vegas casino games that you miss. And all the wagering information needs as well. It's your continued source for all things sports. Head to the website right now. You got yourself a mobile device. Go to Bet Online. Learn more about the trends and actions. Bet Online, it's my place to go to whenever I need to look at some information. whether it be about the Spurs, the odds and their games, or just even some future player props. It's all right there. Bet online where the game starts. Jack, we saw right, during the trade deadline that Poeltl was reportedly dangled out there, and he himself admitted that he knew that he was dangled out, as far as a trade bait. Um,
Yeah.
is 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 moving up in the draft got to be on the table for the Spurs? Mind you, it might be very expensive though to move up in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you lay on? Yeah, what do you lay on this? Do you think the Spurs should entertain that, or do you think they should, stick with the core and try to develop that chemistry one more season next year?
I
Oh,
think
was that? Go ahead,
we've
Jack.
we've seen Jakob Poeltl's peak, and while he's very serviceable, I don't think a big like him can be the big that, sort of holds it down and takes you to the championship in
Hmm.
terms of like the anchor of your team. So I think that he would be the most likely to be traded if we're trying to move up in the draft. And I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of teams out there that could definitely use the services of a Jakob Poeltl. So I I would not be upset by any stretch if that was what happened to Jakob.
Hmm.
But we would definitely have to, um, you know, go for that center position in some way in the either the draft or free agency. The only thing is, if we're moving up in the draft from our picks, there's not really going to be a center that you want to take higher than the picks that we have right
Hmm.
now already. I mean, the only bigs that are going in that top, 10 are 1, 2, and 3. So unless you get into that 1, 2, and 3 range, you're not going to really be picking a center there that's
Hmm.
in that 4 to 10 range. So we would have to address it in free agency somehow. And that seems a whole lot less likely unless we could snag a DeAndre Ayton or someone like
Right.
that, that we get a big name, free agent over to San Antonio that plays the center spot.
How expensive would it be for the Spurs to move up in the draft in this draft crop? Would it be very pricey if this, if a team said, "Oh, you want I'm making this up, number 4 pick"? Well, it's going to cost you Pirtle, your picks, and Devin Vassell. Would it be very expensive?
It could potentially be. I mean, it really just depends on who you're dealing to, but yeah, I think it would definitely be expensive. It just also depends on how high up you're trying to get. But I mean, there are teams in the top that, have centers already, have guards. So it'll be kind of a mix and match of the team you pick
Hmm.
and what their needs necessarily are. But I could definitely see it being a couple picks in a player or a couple players in our top pick for sure to move up high in the draft, especially
And you,
because we're getting lower and lower by the day, or
yeah,
higher, I guess, higher picks.
those that draft pick from Boston is going to hurt, right? I mean, that's a low 20. Is there any? Do you think the Spurs can work their magic again and find another KJ, find another Murray in the late 20s?
Yeah, I think there are definitely this draft is deep enough in the first round where we could find guys that are good on the back end. Patrick Baldwin is one. He was a consensus, top 5 pick going into this year, but he got hurt, only played 11 games, played on a really bad team where he was the only player on offense that could do anything. So he was getting double teamed every time he touched the ball. So he had a real rough season. But if you go back to his high school days, which was only a year ago,
Right.
he was a phenomenal player. He's a 6'10" shot creator, shot maker that plays the small forward and the power forward, has elite handle for his size. He would be someone, if we don't go a big early in the draft, there's the center out of Arizona, Christian Coloco, who's 7'1", can guard multiple positions with his athleticism. And he really reminds you of a young Clint Capella type of big that elite
Right.
rim runner, lob catcher, great defender, stuff like that. There's a shooting guard out of Nebraska named Bryce McCallens, who was one of the highest scorers in the Big Ten. He averaged 18 to 20 points a game. He's 6'7", fluid athlete, got a great form on his shot, and I think has the talent and skill level to be an elite shot creator, shot maker in this league. So I think he would be someone that is going to be available on the back end of the draft and could be really good. And
Well,
there's some players that are even less that could fall into the second round in the beginning that could be
right.
very serviceable players. So as long
Yeah.
as we're doing our due diligence, which I assume that we are, there are definitely diamonds in the rough to be found back there.
Well, look, the Spurs found Lonnie Walker. Murray has mentioned Keldon Johnson. And I mean, how lucky were they to
Yep.
find KJ at 29, man? With Samanic being a bust. I mean, how lucky was that?
Yeah, that
Samanic
could
is
have
not
been
even in
our
the league.
worst draft of all time. Yeah.
Samanic is not
I
even in the
called
league
it when he
anymore.
went to New York.
Oh,
Yeah,
you called it?
I'm not surprised one bit. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to work out there.
G
You know how
League
much
Hall of
harder it is to
Famer.
be a New York Knick?
Oh, yeah, forget about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to really bring the goods to perform for the Knicks. But yeah, Spurs got lucky with KJ. Can they do it again in the late round? Because it looks like the Spurs are going to be drafting. Thank you, Boston, by the way, for racking up wins. Appreciate that. Do you think they won the deal? Did they win
Yeah.
the deal? They won the deal, right? The trade?
Uh, yeah, probably, but I do really like Josh Richardson.
Oh yeah, he's definitely becoming a
So,
gem for
I
the
mean,
Spurs. Yeah.
yeah, I think honestly the deal's about tied right now. It just depends on who he drafts because Richardson is having much more of an impact on the squad than Derek White was because he's taking that off the bench role and accepting it
Mhm.
like Derek White seemed to never want to do. So if we can get a good pick out of it, then I think we win. But as of right now, I think it leans more towards Boston because they really have
Yeah.
exploded post that Derek White
Jeez,
addition.
did they? But yeah, Jay Rich is turning out pretty well for the Spurs. We're talking with Jack Thompson right here on Locked On Spurs. He's with San Antonio Sports Star and co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover, where they talk about everything and anything under the sun: sports, pop culture, latest news, trends, basketball culture. It's all there. Check it out. We'll be talking about that in just a bit. Hey, but I don't know about you, but if you've given up on your New Year's resolution, the one where you try to stay in shape, well, don't worry. Built Bar is here to get you back on track. It is a solution. It is, well, helpful. It is so good for you to get back into your healthy goals. And let me tell you right now, it doesn't taste like a health bar. It tastes like a candy bar, but it's so good for you because it's not packed with the calories and sugar. And I'll tell you about it right now. You get flavors like banana cream pie, coconut marshmallow. Yes, they even have a puff flavored built bar made with 100% real chocolate. Yes, 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are far superior. A typical candy bar can be anywhere between 200 to 300 calories. Look, go to built.com, scroll down to the macros chart, and I guarantee you'll be blown away. High protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb. Now, just an example, most bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which is about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar. You don't want all that bad stuff in you. Get yourself a built bar right now. One of my favorites has been a cricket flavor. Yes, Jack, they had a cricket flavor, and I loved it. It tastes pretty good.
Cricket?
Yeah, they had a cricket flavor. It's good. I loved it. But hey, don't
That's
worry about it.
wild.
If you don't want a cricket flavored Built Bar, they got you covered. They got mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. Go right now and just Google search Built Bar and get yourself a box right now. Amazing flavors, all delicious. Yeah, and good for you as well. At Built Bar, they're all about taste. They make it that taste is first, and it's delicious, and it's everything you want in a healthy bar. Go to built.com right now Use promo code LOCK15. Get yourself 50% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 50% off at built.com. Let's continue our chat here with Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star. All in all, Jack, you think the Spurs will be okay when all the dust settles in this upcoming draft?
Yeah, I think we'll be all right. We just gotta either package picks and move up, or we got to rely on finding those diamonds in the rough. They're out there and can be found for sure. But I think when it's all said and done, we'll be fine. I mean, we'll still have our team that we have now with just additions of some young guys. So either way, next year we'll be highly competitive, and depending on if we can bring in some free agents too, that'll be the kicker or not. But it's not like we're going to get any worse. So when it's all said and done, things will be fine. But it just depends on who we draft and when we draft them.
That's it. We'll see exactly what the Spurs will be doing. One thing the Spurs will be doing is trying to wrap up their season on a good note. As of this recording, they're just percentage points outside of the play-in. Jack's probably jumping up and down right now. But again, with the Lakers spiraling, it looks like the Spurs will probably vault in there as well. So let's go and look at tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. Jack, on paper, the Spurs should beat them, right? They did throttle them in Portland a few days ago. But this is the first game of a back-to-back set with the Blazers. Your thoughts on tonight's game? What do you just want to see the Spurs team do tonight?
Just go out. I would love to see DeJounte keep his 3-point shooting up that we saw in our last game where he hit a career high 6 threes.
Jack is probably going to say, yeah, see another L.
Yeah, I mean, an L wouldn't be the worst thing for sure, but I just look for progress every game, more comfortability from Zach Collins and Jay Rich in their roles. I want to see Primo, handle the ball a little bit more, make some better decisions, and just improve shooting from our two top guys. I mean, if we need Keldon and DeJounte to keep up their 3-point shooting, so it's really all I'm looking for.
Hey, Jack, Drew Eubanks said that tonight's game may be different. He said that.
Well,
No,
he lost the Pelicans by 20, so
he openly said that after the loss to the Spurs out in Portland. He said, "Oh no, he goes, the next time we play the Spurs, the outcome is going to be different." I'm like, all right, Drew. But good on him. Good on him. He's playing well with Portland.
He is playing well, but for some reason they still haven't given him a contract. They've just signed him to like 10 days.
Did you like Eubanks when he was a Spur? Were you okay with him or nah?
I mean, I didn't dislike him.
He was what he was.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just, 3 inches too short.
Exactly. That's it. That's all he was. But no, Spurs, the Blazers tonight out at the ATT. Spurs should get the W tonight. The Spurs team probably going to want to come out and redeem the heartbreaking loss to the Grizzlies. A layup, Jack. Keldon missed the layup.
Yeah.
A layup.
I know. I saw it. Beautifully set up play by Pop and smoked the layup.
And well, Jack was half sad, half cheering, like, yay, another L. Get them ping pong balls up. Get them up there. He is Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star. Jack, tell us about the Saturday morning hangover.
Yeah, every Saturday, me and my man James Pletcher, I know y'all have heard him on this show too. We're just breaking down from 9 to 11, breaking down all the major sports stories of the week. We'll run some March Madness, some NBA, some Spurs talk, get into NFL free agency and all that's been going on there. Talk some Cowboys, some Texans, and maybe a little bit of college football recruiting now that things are kind of heating back up again. But we really just hit all the major storylines from all the major sports. So if that's something that you're into, definitely come and check us out on San Antonio Sports Star Saturday from 9 to 11. We'll be there.
12:50. Yep, 12:50 a.m. 103.3 FM, and follow Jack on Twitter at Jack_Thompson 33. Hey, where'd you get that banner from? That banner photo was like a little kid, and he's saying it's only crazy until you do it. That looks so familiar.
No, it's Devin Booker posted that,
Oh, okay.
and
I
then
don't know why
I
it looked.
stole it.
You stole it. Oh, we won't look. We won't let Book know. All right, Booker. He's just borrowing it. Hey, any latest news on the sneaker front? Anything that Spurs fans or just sneaker fans should be waiting for?
I mean, there's a ton of shoes. I mean, summer's about to hit, so this is kind of like the prime time for sneakers when they come out. The weather's nice. You want to wear your shoes outside finally. So yeah, I mean the Nike Dunk lows have been exploding as of late. There's a ton of colorways coming out on that. As far as basketball shoes go, I know I've seen KD has been rocking his newest shoes. Zach LaVine was just signed to New Balance,
Yeah.
so I would expect him to get some sort of shoe from them here pretty shortly. Luca is his first signature shoe is about to come out with Jordan.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
there's a ton coming out on the sneaker front.
Hey, what? For those of y'all who do not live in San Antonio, today or yesterday, started the Fiesta Week 2022. Basically, just think Mardi Gras for a whole week. If for those of y'all who never
Yep.
been to San Antonio, um, what does Jack Thompson wear sneaker wise when he's out in Fiesta events?
Probably just my Air Force Ones. I have a couple shoes that I wear like during big gatherings that I
Yeah.
don't really care if they get messed up. I can
Oh,
easily
Nyosa,
clean them.
forget about it. Your shoes are getting
Yeah.
smoked. Yeah.
So probably just my white Air Force Ones that I just wear around as beaters. I'm not gonna bring anything special out to Fiesta because inevitably someone will
Yep.
step on them, spill beer on them. I'll step in a puddle or some food or something like that. So
Something else gross when
yeah,
when all
just
the porta
some
potties are all
kicker.
full.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go to the parades, like the night or the day
I
parades?
usually try to go to at least one parade, get
Yeah.
festive out there.
You can probably get away with wearing some nice kicks for that because nobody's really moving around
Yeah,
too
that
much.
that one's an easier one too, for sure.
For all your sneaker info, again, make sure to follow Jack on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. He is a sneakerhead. Trust me, he is. Um, Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. We thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Spurs Blazers tonight. Check out Locked On Blazers. See what's going on in their neck of the woods ahead of tonight's game. Maybe Drew Eubanks still talking smack. We'll go find out by checking out Locked On Blazers. For Jack Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're putting a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.